Good afternoon, everyone. I am making this screencast on Sunday evening around 5 p.m. I figured I'll give you an extra day to get started on the tasks for the week. And this week, which again we are meeting online, we are not meeting tomorrow, which is October 30th. This week we're going to focus on digital storytelling, coding. You're going to add some items to your ePortfolio, and you are also going to use some online collaboration tools to practice maybe talking to your lesson plan partner, or if you don't have a lesson plan partner, just playing around with some of these tools with somebody else. So let me quickly go through the objectives, and I say that they're today's objectives, but really this week. One, I'm hopeful that by the end of this session, you will understand what digital storytelling is, be able to identify some key components, and brainstorm potential topics and tools, as I will let you know when the assignment is due and show you the rubric. We will also get into some coding. You're reading about that right now for blog 6, but looking at the push for coding around, for young children, you're going to complete an hour of code activity, and you'll actually get a certificate of completion, which you'll add that to your ePortfolio. And then I'm also going to ask you to collaborate again with some online tools, and I'll show you all about that. So let us start with digital storytelling. And you can think for a moment about what you think digital storytelling is. La 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 la. What do you think it is? Well, I can tell you that it is, at its most basic core, the practice of using computer-based tools to tell stories. You will see in the literature that there are a wealth of other terms that are used to describe digital storytelling, including digital documentaries, computer-based narratives, digital essays, electronic memoirs, things of that nature. But at the end of the day, digital storytelling is the idea of combining the art of telling stories with a variety of multimedia. What I'm going to have you do at some point during this online session is go into our Week 10 folder, which is here, and we're looking at Mark Zuckerberg here. When you go into the Week 10 folder, you will see that there is another folder specifically about digital storytelling resources. And of course, I don't know why that's not working at the moment. Oh, here we go. So we are using the resources that are out of the University of Houston. This is where I get all of my information from and my resources about digital storytelling. Basically, what you're going to do is think of a story that you want to tell and create a digital story. I'll share with you some different tools that you can use, but these are the 7 elements that I'm going to look for in your digital story. Is there a point of view? Is there some kind of question that you're going to be asking? In other words, this should be more than just a collage of pictures from your latest sorority event with some music. There should be an actual story that brings us through a beginning and a middle and an end. Emotional content does not have to be serious, at least for this particular assignment, but there should be something that drives us. And again, more than just a photo collage or a slideshow. There should be something, and it could be funny, but maybe it's serious. Or maybe it's just a curious kind of video, and I'll provide some samples to give you some ideas. But you should also have your voice included, which means that part of the digital story must be narrated. There must be some music, or some sounds that support the story. Economy is meaning that it should be long enough to tell the story, but it's not going to be more than 4 minutes, right? 2 to 4 minutes is the optimal amount of time, and that's what economy means. And lastly, pacing, just making sure that the rhythm of the story moves nicely and that it is, that it goes along at a reasonable pace. So these are the 7 elements of digital storytelling that I will focus on for your assignment. Back in the Week 10 folder, you will see that there are some other resources about benefits to digital storytelling. You may find some ideas here. But basically, and I don't know why there's two rubrics here, but I think the second one is the one that we'll look at. This assignment is based specifically on those elements. So for example, is there a purpose? Is a point of view established, and can I clearly tell whose story it is? Is the voice clear? Is there a meaningful audio soundtrack? Is the quality of the pictures and the multimedia images good? Again, does the pace or does the story take place between 2 to 4 minutes? And then lastly, is your effort evident in the actual project? Keep in mind that I know you're not all experts at digital storytelling, but this is really an opportunity for you to use the tools to try something new and hopefully create a project or product that you'll be able to share with future students. So let's just quickly go through here. We already did that. All right, so we talked about the elements of digital storytelling. Quickly, you should know that digital storytelling is a valuable technology because not only, as you can see on the left, it supports UDL, but you can use digital storytelling up and down the Bloom's taxonomy levels in terms of making a story to help students remember something, but then students themselves can create digital stories, again, catering to the highest cognitive levels. So as this is done, you can take a look and check out some of the samples that I've made available. You'll see that there is a wide variety of them, but this would be a good time for you to start thinking about some different tools that you would like to use, as well as some different story ideas. So here are some of the different tools that you might think about. If you have a Mac, you can use iMovie. If you have a PC, you can use Movie Maker. And then I have links to tools such as Storybird, StoryKit, Smilebox, capsules, and maybe there are some other tools that you know of that you would like to use. Keep in mind that some of the tools like Storybird, you can insert text and you can use beautiful images that are already uploaded, but you cannot include sound with Storybird alone. So I'm also going to include the link to the tool that I'm using right now called Screencast-O-Matic, which allows you to talk over a presentation. And that's how you could insert your voice if that's something that you want to do. Well, you have to do, so it's a way to do it. Here are some topic ideas that I have seen over the years. Somebody has done a story about what it was like to be a student at Towson University. I have a student right now who's going to do a story about her first day at the university. I've had students do stories about why they want to be a teacher or a favorite school memory. I've had some students do digital stories about how to make certain things like guacamole or a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I had an early childhood person last year do a story about how to get ready for bed for young people, like brushing their teeth and washing their face. Some students use this as an opportunity to create a digital story that they'll use in their lesson. For example, somebody did one with the water cycle. You could take a children's book and then recreate it into a digital story, and so on and so forth. So really, there are a lot of opportunities for you to pick. We'll talk a little bit more about this in class, but I do want you to explore a little this week and think about the kinds of stories that you might want to tell. So to switch gears now, the second piece of this online week is looking at coding. If you look back into our week 10 folder, you will see that there is a folder entitled coding. So we're here, we're going to go into the coding folder, code in schools. So this provides you some additional information about benefits of coding. There are some really great tools and toys that young people are using to code. In fact, NACE even has its own statement on coding and its benefits. So I would like for you to take some time to read through some of this information so you can become more familiar with this movement. This is where you'll click to actually perform the required task for this week. These are all different hour of code activities that you will actually do some coding. And you can create your own filters of what you're interested in, or you might just scroll through the images and find a particular area that interests you, whether that's Star Wars or Anna and Elsa, or, you can see that there are lots and lots of options to choose from. The idea is that once you are done, you will actually be prompted to get a certificate. And on that certificate, it will say that you have completed the hour of code. Once you complete that, I'm going to ask you to print it or at least take a picture of it. And you are going to add that to your ePortfolio under Maryland Teacher Technology Standard number 7, Professional Growth. This particular session is meant to introduce you to, most likely something that you've never done before, but it's something that is an up and coming field, especially with young children. So we're going to add that onto your professional growth portfolio. So the next thing that you're also going to do this week is play around with some online collaboration tools. Again, if we go into our week 10 folder, you will see that there is a folder set up specifically for, you guessed it, collaboration tools. So you can pick from any of, I'll have to add a couple more. Google Hangout is one of them. And this is probably the one that might be the most useful for all of you to play around with. But some other tools that you might want to think about include, and I guess I can add some in here, some other things that you might want to think about include Skype. You can even use a tool called House Party. You can use FaceTime, you can use Google Hangout, and if there is another one, by all means, you can do that. But what I'm looking for you to explore are these online tools for collaboration that you might use with parents or even future students. So once you have used one of these tools, and even if it's with a friend, I am going to ask you to again capture this image in some way. This is another example of how you are using technology for communication purposes, and that will be added to Maryland Teacher Technology Standard number 2, which is communication, and then that's A. And then this brings us to our last goal of this session, and that is making sure that your ePortfolio is up to date. If you go back into, again, our Week 10 folder, you will see that there is a link for your ePortfolio items to add. So if you click on this, you'll see that I have added in, or I should say I've highlighted those items that you should definitely have by now. So I've also provided you a rubric at the beginning so you can get a sense of how this will eventually be graded. But if you don't have these items here in yellow, that's what you should spend some of your time working on this week when when we have our online session. So you'll see, yeah, go through and see what you don't have, and you can also see what you're going to be asked to complete by our final exam day. So that's another task for this particular week. So in conclusion, since we're not going to be here for Monday, these are the tasks that I'm asking you to do. One, I'm asking you to start brainstorming and working on your digital story. Think about ideas. You can look at some of the samples, look at the rubric, and start playing around. You're going to complete an hour of code and print the certificate and add it to your ePortfolio. You're then going to use some of the online tools to collaborate with your lesson plan partner, again adding some kind of image of that to your portfolio. And then lastly, of course, your blog 6 is due by Sunday at 11 p.m. If you have any additional questions, call me. So I will add that in here right now just as a final thing. Call or text me with questions. Email works too. So have a great week. Have a great week and Halloween. And I will see you, I guess, on Monday, November 6th. And that's all I got for you. All right, take care. And please, again, text me or email or call if you have any questions. Okay, bye.